ought to warn you if you haven't read any of my stories, but you may be a little disturbed by some of the things that happen in them.
And about a week or 2 weeks after I was there, I went to look, a trainload came, and we were watching what they were going to do. And as I was watching this, I saw with my own eyes. This German, a mother had this little 6-month-old baby. And this German told her to give to somebody the child. And she didn't want to give up the child. The German got so mad at her, she grabbed the child, turned her upside down, and tore that child in half, split it in half, and threw it under the railroad tracks. Now, can you see a mother seeing that? It's uncanny what the things we saw, the things the Germans did, it was unhuman. It was bad.
It was a heap. The dead bodies overnight, they were piled up in such a, like, crisscross. The bodies were crisscross, laying 10, 12, 15 feet high, just from overnight, what they died or they drowned them or whatever it was. And in one of those, when I was thrown into the bathroom, this was already, I was laying in the bathroom. This was before you die, they were putting you to the bathroom, down there to the latrines. And the block of elders that came in, and he saw me, and he performed oral sex on me.
Jag kan ju nämna en grej som jag har sett själv. Det är så att man delade ut soppa. Det kom 2 män, 2 fångar, med en jättegryta med het soppa. Och det kom folk som åt soppan då. Och det var en som tog sitt skål, sprang till det här fatet, fyllde det och så sprang han. Men han nådde inte långt. Han blev fångad. De tog honom tillbaka till soppan. De lyfte upp honom. Tryckte ner hans huvud i soppan och dränkte honom i soppan. Och sen åt soppan som vanligt. Och såna grejer hände ju dag.
Death Camp, made famous by Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List.
He had killed 84,000 people with his own hand. And he was observing us. Anybody who had a rest for a few seconds on the shovel or the pickaxe, he saw with the telescope and he shot.
And then I see little objects being thrown in the air, and they were shooting at them, and they were like blown to pieces. And then I'm observing close, and I see that those were little babies. They were taking babies from young mothers and throwing them in the air, and they were using them for target practice. They were throwing them against the brick walls from the homes, their little skulls split in 2. Our little infants, our sweetness of life and joy, they were just like I don't think I could step on a bug as freely as what they did to our children. I don't know if I could step on a bug as freely as what you.
I met my husband, who had been in forced labor since 1940. They took him and 240 men to Russia. Only 5 returned. I see the picture of him and she recalls how they had to sit in the trees and crow like a rooster until they fell from the trees, frozen.
You know, after like few weeks, they take you to the showers. To the showers, they give you a small bar of soap when you enter, and you go to the showers. In the ceiling, you know, they were, you know, sometimes it was water coming through, sometimes it was gas. So now we were entering this knowing, because sometimes we could die, sometimes we could come back alive. And before entering, no towels or anything, they will give you a bar of soap. In this bar of soap, there were 3 initials in German that I forgot how to pronounce in German, but it means pure Jewish fat into the soap. It meant that they were making the soap out of the corpse of the living. They make those soaps. They were making out of the corpse of the living many things. They will make, you know, that parchment to make that to the lampshades. They will make, you know, purses for them. For the skin of the dead people, they will make beautiful skins, you know, like purses for the Germans. They will make anything. And then the flesh, you know, they were sometimes, you know, when they burn, if they were not burned, they will use it for to make sausages and to make, you know, polony that they were giving us at night to eat.
Já vás musím škrtnout.
Co napísané, že já pomr?
Jo.
Ne, já živ.
No, ale
já živ.
To bylo tak, řekněte mu, že
já živ.
V podstatě těch materiálů se zachovalo strašně maličko, že jo?
Správit, já živ.
Jozef leeft, maar dat blijkt niet uit de documenten. Zijn hele familie wordt als overleden beschouwd. Vader Ferdinand overleed in het ghetto Theresienstadt in 1943. Moeder Helena, zus Amalia, Jozef zelf en zijn tweelingzus Martha zijn in mei 1944 naar Auschwitz getransporteerd. Voor het eerst ziet Jozef zijn familie nu bij elkaar.
To talk about how we can combat hate and anti-Semitism. I also met some Ukrainian refugees who were there. And we need to support them. And I met one woman who was saved in the Holocaust in Germany, settled in Ukraine, and is now a refugee again back in Berlin, where she originally left as a Jew in the Holocaust. So you can't, these are the stories that are happening out there. And so this stuff is so important. This hate is interconnected. You see it in the discourse in the country right now. You see it in the divide that we have, and that just going to the school meeting, you see that hate that is out there. We've got to step up and speak out, and we've got to call out the cowards out there. People, as my wife likes to say, these so-called leaders, but she's right. Because you can't be in leadership if you're not going to lead.
How welcome we were in Germany, when Germany at that time already was besieged by, what was it, 51 countries? 51 countries, they were struggling for their lives. And they took us in as their own.
Tell us the story about the delousing.
Well, I only find out the real story now. I did not know this for the longest time, but we were all put into what looked like a great big bathroom, I guess, because they had these shower things at the top, and we were put onto benches. We were all stark naked, old and young. Of course, the sexes were separated, but we all had to sit in a row. And then somehow, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow the rumor started that they were going to gas us. I have to tell you that this is really true. This is what happened. And what happened eventually is that they rained from the shower heads. They rained soap and water on us. And the reason for that was that we had to be deloused. We were so full of lice through that. Our hair was cut. And they rained soap and water on us. I do not remember if there were any towels, but we came out, and this happened prior. You see, we had to be clean to be to be naturalized. Yes. So this happened prior to that.
Otherwise.
That's right.
Germans had to be clean in
That's
those
right.
days,
And I remember how embarrassed these people were to sit there stark naked. So when I hear about the shower heads and the Holocaust and all of that, I know exactly what it was. That was soap and water raining down on us to delouse us. That's what it was. And where the story came from, that those were dangerous shower heads, I don't know. That must have come out of the Russian propaganda in those years, because I remember it very clearly, that there was a rumor, you know,
in other words,
we were going to be done in.
These simple people were afraid of this procedure?
We were afraid of this procedure, yeah. And if I can tell, you can cut it out if it doesn't
so
belong.
It's like Steven Spielberg, that everybody in Schindler's List is waiting for the gas to come in.
And all it
lo and
is
behold, all it was
soap and water came raining
yeah.
down on us in this great big, we called it banya, which is a Russian word for a washroom. Bathroom, yeah, but it was a big one, a communal bathroom. It was huge, I would say. It was, the way I remember it, of course, I was little, but the way I remember it, I would say it was at least 30 by 30. It must have been built for that purpose, to wash us down like dogs. Yeah.
But most people, of course, don't know is that the Germans had drawn a line from the Baltic, or actually from the North Cape virtually all the way down to the Bosporus, and anybody that came across that line, whether he was German or Mennonite, Jews for that matter, anybody in Europe could not go across that line without being deloused, because they wanted to keep lice out of Europe, because lice were so dangerous to public health.
That's right. So that was
don't
the
feel
first
badly, you know, you were not picked on because you were Mennonites or Lutherans.
Or the same for the cutting of hair. I mean, we were all shorn bald in order to stop the lice, the louse problem that we had. Everybody had lice in the war. You know, I mean, this was just common knowledge that everybody had lice, and then of course we had to be deloused and put into Germany.
So Jews cannot claim unique victim status?
No, they cannot. And when I hear the stories about them losing their hair, big deal. None of us had hair.
Yeah.
So that was my take on it.
And how about the cattle cars?
Well, the cattle cars was pretty much the same story, because we considered ourselves lucky if we could ride in a cattle car, of course, because then we did not depend on horses, we did not have to walk on foot. Man, that was luxury, to ride a cattle car. And yes, they were crammed full of people, and yes, it was very difficult, you know, to travel like that. Often you could not sit, you had to stand because they were crammed full. Often there was not water, there was no food. This is how it was in those years. People were hanging on those cattle cars. When you see those pictures, that could have been us. We were like that in those years. That means nothing. The same when you see the bunk beds. My goodness, we were lucky if we had bunk beds where we could sleep at night. It meant we did not have to sleep outside in the snow. No. Those pictures mean nothing.
The thing that makes Judaism dangerous to everybody, to every race, to every nation, to every idea, is that we smash things that aren't true. We don't believe in the boundaries of nation state. We don't believe in the ideas of these individual gods that protect individual groups of people. These are all artificial constructions, and Judaism really teaches us how to see that. In a sense, our detractors have us right, in that we are a corrosive force. We're breaking down the false gods of all nations and all people because they're not real. And that's very upsetting to people.
The biggest problem in Auschwitz was a typhus epidemic. And not only the prisoners died, several guards died of Auschwitz, of typhus. The civilian workers who were working in Auschwitz were protesting about it. They didn't want to work in Auschwitz anymore because so many of them were affected with typhus.
An insecticide, Zyklon B, was used in Auschwitz against the lice which carry typhus. This promotional film was made by the Nazis in 1938.
Blausäure, die ja äußerst giftig ist, eignet sich zur Schädlingsbekämpfung ganz besonders. Hier ihre einfachste Anwendungsart. Man lässt sie von porösen Gipswürfeln aufsaugen, die dann in gewöhnlichen Blechbüchsen gasdicht verschlossen werden. Mit Blausäure durchgast man größte Betriebe ohne jede Gefahr für Mensch und Material. Gas! Gas!
You had to get completely undressed and give up all your things, which were then thrown into a boiler where the lice were supposed to be killed. The things were either supposed to be washed or have the lice killed. I can't remember which anymore. The naked women had then to stand on chairs, on 2 chairs, and the men shaved them. They were shaved in all the personal areas.
Only Auschwitz, they liberated all the camps in Poland, and that is really not known. And something I wanted to point out to you, you know, there are many pictures about the Russian liberating Auschwitz, and there's never any snow. And the snow was honestly that high. And so I have some connection with the Russian embassy, and I was there once, and I said, something puzzles me. Those photos are fakes, because there's no snow. And they said, well, yes, they are not fakes, but when the army came, they didn't have cameras, they didn't photograph. So only much later, when they realized we should have pictures of it, they took pictures like you see now, but this is definitely not in Auschwitz and not the liberation of Auschwitz. There were not that many people with clothes and children and no snow.
Right, fascinating.
So I think...
After like few weeks, they take you to the showers. To the showers, they give you a small bar of soap when you enter, and you go to the showers. In the ceiling, you know, they were, you know, sometimes it was water coming through, sometimes it was gas. So now we were entering this knowing, because sometimes we could die, sometimes we could come back alive. And before entering, no towels or anything, they will give you a bar of soap. In this bar of soap, there were 3 initials in German that I forgot how to pronounce in German, but it means pure Jewish fat into the soap. It meant that they were making the soap out of the corpse of the living. They make those soaps. They were making out of the corpse of the living many things. They will make, you know, that parchment to make that to the lampshades. They will make, you know, purses for them, for the skin of the dead people. They will make beautiful skins, you know, like purses for the Germans. They will make anything. And then the flesh, you know, they were sometimes, you know, when they burn, if they were not burned, they will use it for to make sausages and to make, you know, polony that they were giving us at night to eat. It was, you know, like you say, at the beginning we were very kosher, as you say, in Rhode Island. We didn't want to touch polony, not even knowing that it was human. We thought it was from the cow. But then, you know, my father, at the beginning, 40 days, we will see the men, you know, from the other side of the fence. They were electric wires. And then my father, he was very well, he knew very well, the Hebrew and all these laws and all this. He told us in Hebrew, Dina Malchuta Dina, which means the law of the government is a law. So if you don't eat, you'll starve and you'll die. So God knows that. So don't forget about kashrut and everything. Eat whatever they give you. So at the beginning, you know, we didn't want to, even that we knew that, but we didn't want to touch that polony. But after that, never mind, we ate anything they will give us.
Anyway, my mother, because of hunger, I guess, she had got swollen legs. What they called it is like elephantitis, because they were very heavy. She couldn't reach them together. And there used to be a building where they took sick people. Obviously, there was not a Red Cross or anything. You might have gone to the gas chamber there or what have you. And we stayed in that barrack for a while, and somehow I was fortunate that I was able to go with my mother, because I told them that I was sick too, and the lady was kind, the capos, because the capos who ran some of those camps, they were mean and miserable. But anyway, they let me stand there, and we stayed there for a while, just a few days, and you used to always hear, even near Auschwitz, a rumbling of artillery and things. The Russians were going to come closer. And one night, and there was January 27th, which now they have a special Holocaust memorial now for January 27. It was on Monday. They had the international memorial for the Holocaust survivors. And we were liberated.
And then later I heard, I didn't see it, I'm glad I didn't, a couple of our boys had taken a couple of the SS troopers and tied their hands behind their backs, shoved them in one of the furnaces that they were using to burn the bodies, pulled a pin on the hand grenade and threw it in there and slammed the door shut and walked away. But I can understand it. You see something like that and you just get so mad, your blood just boils, and wonder how such inhumanity could be done, you know. It was just a terrible day. Terrible day.
The sun is a bit whipped along there, it's all come off a bit. The 5th section is the front page, and the article is called Horrors Worse than Kishinev, Charged Against Russia Today. And there's the big article, takes up most of the page. So go in, yeah, and go. Since the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the Jewish people have had no darker page in their history than that which the Russian government is writing today. 6 million Jews, one half of the Jewish people throughout the world, are being persecuted, hounded, humiliated, tortured, starved. Thousands of them have been slaughtered. Hundreds of thousands of Jews